Welcome back to the show, everybody.
Hey, guys.
How's everybody doing?
We've got a second wind of energy. We're ready to go.
Do we? Mine's gone already.
Okay,
Let's talk about a marshal's badge.
Since the Ura surrendered
Oh, that's good.
the marshals.
Yeah, about them surrendering.
Gosh.
Let's go.
All right.
Further onward.
Every time I record with you, which is both times now, like we get about 4 or 5 episodes in, and then you just crash.
Am I crashing or am I peaking? That's the real question, Daniel, that I will pose to you.
Full name, this is serious.
Oh, this is no joke. What is your middle name?
Jackson.
Jackson?
Yeah.
Daniel Jackson Floyd.
That's the one.
That's a bet. That is like an 18th century or 19th century like presidential candidate name.
Like runner-up. I didn't win.
Yeah.
I might have made vice president in that time before they changed the rules.
Yeah.
Oh, cat, go away.
Cat.
Leave.
I need to have it. No, it's fine. I will fend the cat off with my aura.
Maybe all that water just grew wings and flew off.
Like the bird. Oh man.
Yeah, the cats go from being a feature to being a bug as soon as we have someone allergic in here.
like most things people are allergic to. Like nuts are great until they kill people.
Riverbanks swarming with windbags. They're so bent on finding the core, they hardly notice the kid. Lucky for him, a certain famous ferry barge is still afloat. She sends some squirts crying home as she leaves port. Maybe Nellie knows the way to the core.
This is one of the few times where they're actually putting narration over the action bits.
Or maybe
It is harder to focus on.
Right.
security skiff.
But you'll notice that they shorten up the lines a lot more.
Nellie's just another windbag to those guns. Just then, the windbags noticed.
Because like all these lines are actually linked up with the enemies instead of in the lulls, because they still have the lulls.
Steamed about what happened at Cinderbrick. They try to cut her off.
Really, I'm impressed with the amount of polish this has given the size of the team.
Yeah. That's one of the cool things about being indie is that, well, I mean,
Try to
it's
slow her down.
there's a lot that goes into being indie. Well, all right. But the ability to sort of not necessarily be beholden to publisher, although some indies are.
Sure. I mean, this was one of the big, like, summer indie
Well, we've been
hits. I expect there was at least some.
WB Games did this?
WB Games did, but, like, it was, like, those summer arcade events that Microsoft used to have. I don't know if that means that, like, Microsoft has any say or any input on development or, like, schedules or anything, but
Yeah, it's like, especially, we could just, like, being indie is, like, lets you focus on things that don't normally get screen time. Like it's really hard to spend a lot of money in a AAA title on narration like this.
True.
Because it's unproven, and it's one of those things that appears to be a waste of money, which is like when you're an indie, you can just sort of get away with saying, like, we're gonna do this, and if people like it, great, and if not, we didn't lose millions of dollars because our game budget is incredible.
right. We just paid a guy a lot of money, and it was just one guy. It wasn't tons of guys.
Yeah, it was like a couple of lines from another character in this.
Oh, that's right.
They had their own eyes on the core. But why? Well, kid ain't got time to think it over just yet. Finds weak Nellie raring to go.
Oh, they're on my side.
She's got a special
Oh, the hearts.
Oh, little heart balloons, so good. This is slow zoom in. We're talking about the cannons. The special surprise is the cannons.
Crafty things think they're king of the roost now.
But you're not. You're birds.
Rest of us only wish we could fly in times like
Eat
these.
swords. Ah, what the balls?
Jeez.
I like to think that scumbag came from an equal, slightly bluer Bastion, and he just like faceplanted on me.
You are his level.
Yeah, I'm his level. He was not a very long level.
No.
Security skiffs keep on coming to starboard side.
Now, get him.
Don't care what they shoot, as long as they hit
Oh.
Given your ability to get range from the machete, it really is
Yeah, this weapon is,
best weapon.
Yeah, I think it was a mistake to do... Like, this is the kind of thing you tend not to want to do in design, where it's like a lot of people, especially players, and this kind of goes into something else we were talking about that I forget what the context was, but that players tend to want things that do everything, but giving them those things tends to make games less fun.
Yeah, like it just completely undercuts all the other work you did designing those other tools and weapons. Because why ever use them?
Right, exactly. And I mean, the idea is like, well, if they want it, why not just give it to them? And why even spend the time doing this other stuff? It's like, well, because the decision is fun, right? It's the kind of thing that we just figured out over time, that like games are a series of interesting decisions. What was it, Sid Meier quote?
Oh yeah.
And
solid ground and bigger country.
But it's one of those things where like you want players to have to do interesting things, right? The difference between a game and a movie is the interactivity, right? The choices that you get to make at any given point in time. And it's really, I think, it's pretty lame when it's just, when you take away those choices. And a lot of time when we talk about power creep or like first order optimal strategies.
Both of those are episodes you guys can watch, by the way.
Yeah.
Thumbnail. Bam. Bam.
Boom. Boom. There. Boom. Upper left corner.
Don't click
bottom,
on it
bottom
yet.
right
We still
corner.
got an episode here, but
Swap it over.
watch it later.
Watch it later. Hope you have fun with that, Gary.
Know how many times kid nearly fell off the bar.
But
Creating work.
oh god, can we just do more of that? I want a picture of Danny and Floyd's face.
Stop.
And then turn it upside down. And then turn it right side up. And then put a little heart over it. I love you, Dan.
Thanks, man.
No problem. How were we talking about?
I can't remember. First order optimal strategies.
Oh yeah. A lot of players, like, the idea of the players, like, we want to create interesting problems for the player to solve, which means we can't give them the solution, even though a problem by its definition, like, requests the solution of the player.
Why go to
So that when you have a weapon like the War Machete, if all you're trying to do is, like, figure out what your best weapon is at any given time, you
used to take an
create a problem where you end up having where like all of these other weapons that you put in the game are no longer decision points. It's like, oh well, I kind of like this one. Oh well, I kind of like that one. It's like, well, one of these is significantly more powerful than the other ones.
But on the other
Granted, it's not the best ranged weapon,
No,
but it is. But it can attack at range,
I think
and it's also really good at melee.
it's pretty close to being one of the better ranged weapons. If what you're going for is the problem is, I think the actual design problem is that it's a combination of two things that go really well together. Like it was. You like that? Like this range weapon is short range but wide. This one does really good like melee. Like I can get a good bunch of range here if I'm super close to them, and I can get really good single target from far away.
Yeah.
So that in most cases the War Machete is just good enough, which means if I just pour all of my money into upgrading the War Machete, that's all I really need. Woo!
Ooh, thunk.
Boom.
Am I hearing singing? Ooh, yeah, that's that level. I do love their investment in music. Really, just their investment in DDRKirby, but I love their investment in
the
music for
was
these
done
games.
for like by one guy for the most part.
Yeah, like.
Oh, right.
But the fact that there is that they feature music so prominently and are doing and seem to be doing it even more so as they realize what a strength it is. Like with Transistor, music is much more prominent even.
Yeah.
The hero's a singer. Who for purposes of their game is
Loses
silent.
their voice. Yeah, I was gonna say like
is silent the whole time, but still.
yeah. Got him. Alright, move on. Where's the singing kind of thing? Oh god. Okay.
I was just noticing that, like, despite they do some adjustments in palette from level to level, but a lot of these levels feel very similar in look. I'm wondering if they're managing to recycle a lot of assets, like like surely a lot of these individual pieces that fall into place are the same in every level, and maybe they got some pieces that don't show up in some levels and some extra ones that feature more prominently in this one, and maybe they can do some recoloring to mix up the palette a little bit, but that would make, given the amount of art and the detail of art in this game and the limited number of people they got, there's got to be some efficiency measures in there.
But when you have like this many things going on screen, it's a lot harder to pick out things that have been reused.
That's true.
Like just in terms of like if you think of the example that is cited all the time, right? Like just recolored enemies, right, from RPGs.
Right.
When those are the only things on screen, it becomes very obvious because you're focused on it. But when it's just a little tile, right, it's really hard to notice because it's just one very small piece of a lot of moving things that are trying to catch your attention all at once.
In a way, it makes the design of the level and the challenges themselves stand out more to me. And it's sort of like how like Mario levels are often built, like a whole world or subset of Mario worlds and levels will be built kind of using the same sort of assets, like the ground always looks like this, the water always looks like this, all that stuff, but how they're arranged and the gameplay challenge they create stands out all the more because the art isn't always commanding your attention. It's just a bunch of assets that are building a challenge for you. In a way that I get a similar effect from this. Oh yeah.
They'll be here before too long.
Man, I love this game.
It's real good. Yeah, they had...
Are you just trying to remember something?
Yeah. I just auto-assume everything that I've forgotten is completely necessary. I've actually started growing resistant to my I forgot something impulse. So I was supposed to bring something here today and I forgot. And normally you get the feeling like, oh, I feel like I forgot something. And I realized that every time I leave to go somewhere, I feel like I've forgotten something to the point where I've just developed an immunity to that feeling, which is terrible because now I'm going to forget everything.
That's just, it's the new normal now?
It's just the new normal.
I see.
It has that effect on people. But there was more to be done.
That acceptance is probably less stressful.
Maybe. Not really.
I mean, if I could go to the airport and already have reached the acceptance stage on I forgot something,
Yeah.
it'd be way more chill.
I'm sure it would. I mean, until you like show up somewhere and it's like, yeah, I probably forgot something, and it turns out to be your pants.
It's
like, God damn it.
The calamity were tucked away in that book. I'd have worked to translate it right away. The Bastion ain't gonna build itself. Well, not entirely.
Right, give me this.
Rux is getting some sass.
Yeah. Bastion ain't gonna build self.
The arm of justice, they seemed unstoppable. The marshals kept the city's peace. They can rest easy now.
I've forgotten just how many customization choices the game gives you.
Yeah, there's a lot of like individual.
Whoever survives a musket shot ought to be quick work for that blade.
There's another friggin' combination.
Oh, maxing it out. Or can I go further? Can I go to, like, because there's space for if it wanted to fit 5.
Yeah, it'll open up a scope.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So we won't spoil it, but
Should we call it? Should we start the next episode?
yeah, we'll end on our normal note of the kid taking a faceplant.
Here it comes.
Oh, geez, this loading bar is the most exciting thing I've seen all day.
He's still falling.
He's still falling.
Building speed.
Oh, he's reaching terminal velocity now. He is catching fire.
Here we go.
Place to put a man alive.
It's gonna be real awkward if he just
Place
wakes
is
up.
so raw, even the calamity couldn't cook it.
It really, I just feel like it just slightly undercuts the dramatic opening.
Just a little.
Eat a man alive.
Especially one that's already dead.
Kid just lays there for a while.
You just kind of, well, you know the rest. All right, guys, we're gonna go to bed. And by that I mean be back in the next episode.
Bye.